My name is Erik and I was wondering how people get this kind of look with these big light sources spilling all over the image. Normally this look can only be achieved using the infamous Cinestill 800 film stock, but shooting on film, especially filming on film, can be quite expensive. There had to be another way. The effects that can be seen in the resulting image are a softer highlight roll-off, a decrease in contrast and in general a softer image. This especially can be seen on skin, where the filter smooths out impurities. Also, light sources start to bloom, and this is maybe the biggest giveaway of the look. I found out that the filter that causes this look is a Tiffen Black Pro Mist filter. It costs a whopping 100+ euros. This is a lot of money for me, and it is especially for a filter. There are alternatives to the Tiffen filter, but they're even more expensive. So I looked up on the internet if somebody had done a DIY version of this filter. I found two ways people tried to replicate the look, but I wasn't satisfied with any of them. The first method is putting black stockings on your lens, and I couldn't believe it at first, but according to FilmRite, this method is widely used. I don't like this method, because with this method the effect is way too strong, and also you look pretty stupid putting black stockings in front of your lens, especially when working together with a client. The second method I found was taking a UV filter and spraying it with a thin layer of hairspray. Using this method, lights start to bloom, but the contrast is not decreased. But the huge upside to this way is that you don't need to put stockings in front of your lens and can use just a regular looking filter. I figured out that I needed to combine the two methods to get the best result, so I came to the idea to spray black paint on a UV filter. The paint had to be black for the filter's ability to decrease the contrast, and also I wanted it to be a filter for the convenience of simply being able to thread it onto my lens. I bought the cheapest UV filter I could find. A friend gifted me some old spray paint, which was surprisingly high quality, and the process could begin. To create the filter, I simply sprayed some black paint in the air and waved the UV filter through it. For me it took about 6 waves until I was satisfied with the strength of the effect. If I was to do it again, I would increase the distance between the point where I sprayed the paint and the waving point so that the droplets on the filter would be smaller. But generally I'm very satisfied with the result I got. And theoretically I could remove the paint at any moment, just using some nail polish remover and redo the paint so that the effect would be weaker. The filter I created represents exactly the look I would get from a Tiffen Black Pro Mist filter, as far as I can tell when comparing footage that was shot using the two filters. If somebody at Tiffen is watching this and thinks I'm wrong, I would love to work together and compare the two filters in a future video. When testing the filter, I found out that my filter decreases the brightness of the image by about 1/3 of a stop. I first thought this is a thing only my filter does, but it turned out the Tiffen filter does the same. Also, the autofocus seems to be just a little bit slower, but it's really hard to notice. I suspect that it is because it's harder for the camera to find sharp edges and therefore harder to confirm a sharp image. In theory, the Tiffen filter should have the same issue though. Aside from these little quirks, I found nothing to point out. I would say that my filter is medium strong, maybe equivalent to 1/4 of Tiffen Black Pro Mist. When using it in 4K, I quite like the effect. It is very much noticeable, but doesn't annoy me at all. In 1080p, I find it to be a little bit too soft for my taste, but this is probably the fault of the soft 1080p the Sony a6500 delivers. I will use this filter to create film stock simulations and in fitting projects to create a sort of dreamy or artsy vibe. Just so you know, the talking headshot you're looking at right now is also created using my Black Mist filter. I will show some further example footage at the end, and as for now, I hope you found this video helpful, and if so, please consider giving a thumbs up and even sharing this video with your filmmaker friends. If you don't want to miss future videos like this one, please consider subscribing, and with all that said, I hope to see you soon.